You are in a pit of rants. This one's for Drinks Menu, who says, "Hey Digi, I'm just going to copy-paste my March rant in here and then suggest 2 more rants to cover for April and May. For April and May, I will just condense these down into one for the sake of brevity. For March, it says, rant about contemporary Zolo music. If you don't know what that is, Zolo is the term for prog punk with a heavy Devo influence, with acts like Modal Zork and Cabo Boing. The contemporary has implemented a lot more use of Euro rack modules and electronics, whereas the original scene was a lot more rock in line with what Devo would have made, i.e. Sickmen, the Flying Lizards, Ronaldo, and the Loaf. The reason I preface it as a rant about Zolo, even if you are unfamiliar, is because I really want you to rant about this album. I feel like now is the best time to request this, since they recently pressed the LP on vinyl for the first time." Okay, well I guess I have to go. Oh wait. No, I listened to this before. This was Macula Dog. Yeah, I remember this rant request. This shit was weird as fuck. Yeah. So, my impression of this was, like, I appreciate what they're doing with just, like, you know, totally out there sounds, and, like, the wacky atmosphere. But most of the songs I felt were, like, just kind of repetitive, you know, like it's just like, here's this weird set of noises and it plays for a few minutes, you know. So I don't know if it's a genre I would like. It's the kind of genre that I appreciate its existence, but I don't think it does much for me personally. So you know, I like things that are wild and wacky just for the sake of itself. That's for sure. But, like, I'm more into stuff that changes constantly. You know, I like music where there's just always, like, a shift over the course of the track, you know? Whether it be sudden or gradual. So anyway, for the April-May rant, it says, rant about Les Chevaliers d'Eon, a rather forgotten production IG show that has surprisingly high MAL score, higher than I remember. Or if you've already done a rant on it, rant about Kaido Maru, another production IG anime, a film that is mostly notable for its art style. Personally, I find late-90s to mid-2000s production IG to be amazing, so if you want, you can just rant about them. So, I have not seen Les Chevaliers d'Eon. I remember it getting really good reviews at the time. Like, in all the anime magazines, they were praising it and stuff. But they all said that it was very, like, dialogue-heavy and slow and, like, boring, you know? And I hated dialogue-heavy, slow, and boring shows, so I avoided it completely at the time. Since then, I've, you know... I did actually read the first volume of the manga, which seemed tonally completely different. But it actually reminds me a lot tonally of Psycho-Pass Season 2, which is written by the same writer as Les Chevaliers d'Eon, To Ubukata. And I have a sort of sordid relationship with To Ubukata. He's one of these writers who I relate to in a lot of ways, but I also think sucks in a lot of ways. He also may or may not have assaulted his wife. But... nonetheless, you know, I would be interested in checking that show out, for sure. I would love to eventually, like, consume all of To Ubukata's stuff and do some kind of piece on him, whether positive or negative or both. But, Kaido Maru, on the other hand, I remember thinking was dog shit. And granted, I saw it dubbed on, I think on TV or on, like, some movie channel when I was, like, 14. And, yeah, it has interesting experimental visuals, but a lot of it is, like, early CGI that does not come out looking that good. Like, a lot of the experimental techniques just don't work. And, like, I think it was trying to be the same kind of thing that Blood the Last Vampire was trying to be, but whereas Blood the Last Vampire was extremely successful at being, like, you know, this very hyper-modern, for its time, animated showcase, Kaido Maru was just not able to capture the same magic. And granted, again, the dub was a huge part of the problem when I saw it. But I remember considering it one of the worst anime I had ever seen at the time. Now, granted, I could rewatch it and maybe I'd change my mind. I have no idea. My tastes are completely different. But, yeah, Production IG, I mean, they've always been a studio that puts out lots and lots of interesting work. And even the stuff they make that doesn't come out so good is usually... like, I mean, it might be high quality in its production and just not so much in the story, you know? Like, there's usually something that's worth looking at or something intriguing about whatever they, you know, put their mark on. I mean, you want to talk the best early 2000s production IG, Dead Leaves, directed by Hiroyuki Maishi. That's the fucking shit right there. Check that out.